Natha tradition or Natha wisdom says, when a female acquires a male, quality, she becomes like a Rakshas.
Achha.
But when a male acquires a female quality, he becomes divine. So women are therefore more respected. Like, during the Navratris, the winter Navratris, there is Kanya Puja that happens. Girls are prayed. That is also a Nath Sampradaya. Why? Because it is finally the Shakti who expresses Shiva.
Okay.
So they are by nature more creative because they can create a human directly out of their bodies, which men can't. And probably why they are not so bothered about other things. I mean, you will not find them to be great architects or, any of these outer creativity.
Bahirmukhi Kriyas.
Yeah, are more predominant in the male.
Male.
And
Isn't this also genetically conditioned in men, Guruji? They have to go out, hunt and then procure food. Is this a way of looking
I
at?
think it is one way, yeah. But as we have evolved as a society, you must also understand that I think men find it easier to create outside of themselves because that is how the energy is. They don't have a womb. And they can't see in their son or daughter that entire creativity that a mother can see.
Okay.
A mother can see an extension of herself. I give life to this body. मैंने जन्म दिया है, जननी है. कभी पिता जननी नहीं हो सकता. He's an indirect way of putting life into it. So he is always forever trying to express his creativity in other ways.
Okay.
So that is why we see whatever you see today. Violence, war, money, banks, all these calls that you get on your phone, selling something, all this creativity is trying to create something outside of you. And a woman will just watch the children grow and get an independent life of itself or herself or himself, and she's happy.
A different kind of fulfillment for herself.
Yes. And if a man gets that quality to see that this is his own child, in a way, and give it an independent life, that's so much more fulfilling and more divine. And that is the Natha wisdom.
Okay.
And where would you get this? You would probably get this with nature. Right? You just put a seed and watch it become a tree. No effort. At our ashram, people come and they're zapped when they see trees are big, huge, long trees. I tell them I planted them 22 years back by my own hands. And they say, really? Because किसी ने किया है. Nobody has watched a tree grow for 20-25 years in the city. It's so magical that, कल तो इतना था. So
it is.
That is why going back to, nature, learning from nature, learning in nature, and being a part of this seamless, which it is, Jagat, Jagatihi, born out of movement, right? So when we become a seamless part of this whole, it is so much more fulfilling and so much less demanding to prove to yourself or to anyone. The whole, you are basically down into Garden of Eden. This already is the Garden of Eden. This is the heaven that was created. But I don't know why we are trying to change it into something which is non-divine. And we are, this is a losing proposition at the end of it. We will end up destroying what we have inherited, which is okay because nature will always bounce back, but we'll also end up destroying mankind itself. That is going to be a tragedy.
That's true.
We have already destroyed tens and thousands of species on this earth. So how do you seamlessly or without conflict live in an urban setting and allow nature to do its work? Because nature is going to provide you everything. Everything that we have today is coming from nature, coming from Mother Earth.
But there's this human anxiety about, having less resources because the number of people is growing. The population is forever on the rise. So it is an innate fear and a constant fear that there's not going to be enough. And therefore development is necessary.
Do you think it has got to do something with the unawareness of quality people and quantity people? Do we really need, I mean, this is something that we need to ask ourselves, do we really need a resource-heavy population? Or can we have good quality? Like, for example, one of the things that we teach, I like to call it in English as ejaculation.
Okay.
Everybody has heard of ejaculation. Ejaculation. That is called Urdhva Retaskara. Okay, and there are many temples of Urdhva Retaskara Shiva.
Ji.
Now the point is, you make a baby when you want. Not using contraceptives, not using a rubber, not using any tablets, but by being of that high quality where you can have fun and get liberated at the same time. And whenever you decide, okay, now I need to pass on my genes, you do it. Do you think that's a better system? I see only enlightened rishis, Raja rishis, being leaders. Right now, we are still in a colonial system. We might have a very beautiful, very evolved head of state. The top might be very good, but it doesn't trickle down, is my feeling. So we need to have my own state, Mysore state, had a Raja, Krishna Raja Wadhera, who was called the Raja Rishi by Mahatma Gandhi.
Yes.
तो ये बहुत पुराना कोई वो नहीं है. We can again create Raja Rishis. Raja Rishi is, for example, in any of the Indian languages, you will see the word for leader is Neta, you know, Netara or Nayak. Everything has to do with Netra or Nayan, the third eye. You also have a small bindi.
Ji.
I also have something on my forehead, indicating the third eye, the inner eye, the enlightened eye. And only someone who can see inside out should lead people and make others start looking inside out. That's a Raja Rishi.
Okay. When you say inside out, Gurudev, what exactly do you mean? Somebody who has a vision?
Where do you exist right now?
This is a tough one, but I know the answer.
Okay.
From you. So this is going to be a rehearsed answer.
That's okay. That's okay. As long as the viewers also
So
get
I
it.
exist in your mind.
Absolutely. But right now you think you exist inside the skin, right? The skin separates me from inside and outside.
Yeah.
So all the people who think I exist inside the skin, very easily in our Sanatana Hindu Dharma or Buddha, in fact, specializes in it, be given an eye which looks inside. The Antahkarana, the inner workings become visible. Because the inner working is where you really exist. So my image is going through this camera and reaching each of your viewer. So he or she is seeing all this podcast in his or her mind's eye. Now, if he or she becomes aware of it, if only I could say become aware and you could become aware, then you will see that I exist in your mind.
Right.
Right? Now, somebody who knows that the outside and inside are basically my own perception, will also stop at that very moment, cease to be an individual.
Okay.
We'll see this as a collective whole. One particular party has this entire theory as their political basis. Ekatma Manavtavad.
Acha.
The whole Manavta is one Ekatma. All policies must be formed according to that Ek Atma, which we are all connected to. That is the one Atma, right?
That's true.
And in the Ramayana itself, considering that we'll go a little further up, the Agnya Chakra, which is in Nepalganj Bageshwari temple, we will awaken the Agnya Chakra, which makes everybody see inside and they start living outside. See, okay, kuch bhi aapko karna hai. I want to lift this mobile. Pehle to it will come in my mind, lift this mobile, and then the action will happen. But right now, our leadership, statecraft, policies worldwide are dominated by the Abrahamic religion, which separate divinity from man.
Yes.
ये तो ऋषि तत्व नहीं हुआ ना? Why are we accepting it? I will give you the example of our glorious, tiny but very significant neighbor, Bhutan, where they have a ministry of happiness. Do you know that?
Yeah.
They count gross national happiness and it is given much higher preference than GDP or GNP.
Right.
GNH, gross national happiness. We, Bharata, which gave Ramarajya, we cannot have GNH. We cannot think in terms of happiness. We are so far away because we've been mind washed. The tragedy is not that this land was ruled by foreign power. The tragedy is that we have lost our chitti. We have lost our own self-identity, which is so distinct. Okay, if it was slightly different from others, fine, but it will be a great, okay, here's how I see the world. Just as the human body has two halves. Actually, you can divide the human body in half, and you'll probably see that it's very similar to the two halves. In the Sanatana, we have the right male and the left female. That's why the left is also called Vame. Wife is also called Vame. Because she's on the left.
Yeah.
Okay? And we have to integrate them to become one full. Because my parents met, I am here. I have my mother and my father in me. So do you, so do every one of us. Similarly, even the brain, the artistic half and the logical, mathematical half, they exist as two separate. They are distinct, like just the male and female. They are also very distinct.
True.
I see the entire world as a very Abrahamic, male, forceful West and a very Brahminical, surrendered East. And this is the time where we have to mix the two. We already have West in us. And the East or the India is already penetrating into the West. We need to accept this and bring about a unified way of living and policy and statecraft.
Okay. So this is, you're not talking about just our own Indian view, the Bharatiya view, but also merging and using the Western methodology or ideas?
That is why it is Sri Ramarajyam, no? Sri Sita, who has gone underground, she needs to be awakened. Once the feminine is out, we already have, the male intellectual. I don't think any other country has the intellectual capital that we have.
No doubt.
What we don't have is the heart or the resilience. Jitna ek stree resilience bhi hai, but somehow the mind says you are weak because you are resilient. We need to accept it's being vulnerable is being the strongest. Isn't it?
No.
You ask, of course, you are a woman, but to the guys,
Yes.
why is a woman so revered? Why are all men are scared of women? Simply because she has the resilience to take and yet emerge victorious. Well, a man can only do some physical damage to himself or to others. So we need to bring a healthy balance. देखिए, I'm not saying switch off electricity, go back to darkness. ये नहीं बोल रहा हूँ. Ramarajya.
So when you say Ramarajya is a merging of West and East, do you also mean to imply modernity and traditionalism merging as one? Is this what you mean?
When you say modernity, are you saying scientific temper?
Yes.
Yes. But if you're saying modernity, wasteful living, no.
No, not that.
Okay.
What are
Science.
the good things that the science has given us?
Science is the purpota or purpoti of spirituality. Finally, Bharata must accept that she is the divine mother. And then you will see that the entire world are just naughty children trying to play, and we will deal with them that way. We have the wisdom to deal with them that way.
Okay.
I think the other day somebody was asking me the question about the right to hate and all that. A mother can never hate a child. But she can correct, she can
Discipline.
But she will never hate. So we first need to see ourselves as the mother, we should see ourselves as the guru, then the world will follow, definitely.